This film is designed to guide the user through the installation and startup procedure for an Atlas Copco CombiCutter. Safety and general information. This film does not replace the operating manual in any way. It is important that you have read and understood the supplied operating manual before undertaking any of the actions shown in this film. Ensure that all relevant safety procedures and practices contained in the operating manual are followed by anyone working on or with the hydraulic attachment. Make sure the personal protective equipment complies with the applicable health and safety regulations. Always wear the following personal protective equipment: protective helmet, safety glasses, protective gloves, protective shoes, warning vest. The operator and the assistant must agree on clear hand signals. Hydraulic attachments should only be mounted on carriers with sufficient load-bearing capacity. Always refer to the operating manual for the correct matching between carrier and attachment. The CombiCutter is delivered standard with spare parts list, operating manual, and the CE Declaration of Conformity. The connection hoses and optional equipment, like a grease gun, must be ordered separately according to the respective requirements. Hydraulic settings. At the next stage, we need to check the hydraulic flow, operating pressure, and the relief valve settings of the auxiliary hydraulic circuit. Switch off the machine, depressurize the hydraulic system, and ensure that the attachment is not connected to the auxiliary circuit of the carrier. Only use clean and undamaged connection hoses and fittings for this operation. Be sure to use hydraulic lines of the rated size and quality as instructed in the operating manual. All connections should be made leak-free, but without over-tightening the fittings. Attach a suitable flow meter to the connection hoses. The flow meter must be equipped with a flow control valve and a pressure gauge. The following task requires 2 people: the carrier driver in the cab and the assistant at the attachment position. Ensure that the blocking valves of the auxiliary hydraulic circuit are fully open. Start the engine and lower the gate lock lever. When the hydraulic oil is at normal operating temperature, the driver should activate the auxiliary hydraulic circuit by operating a foot pedal or a switch as required. When the auxiliary hydraulic circuit is activated, the assistant should check the maximum flow rate displayed on the measuring device. Refer to the operating manual for the correct oil flow rate of the respective attachment, and if necessary, adjust the oil flow rate to the required value. In general, the flow can be adjusted by simply increasing or decreasing the engine RPM, or respectively by selecting another operating mode via the carrier's computer system. After checking and adjusting the oil flow rate, the operating pressure needs to be checked. Using the throttle of the flow meter, increase the pressure until the maximum static pressure has been reached. Refer to the operating manual for the correct operating pressure of the respective attachment, and if necessary, adjust the pressure relief valve to the required value. The pressure relief valve is usually located in the carrier machine's valve block. Refer to the carrier machine's service manual for the exact location and procedure. Fitting the CombiCutter. The connection ports for the hydraulic hoses are located at the upper part of the CombiCutter. The ports for the opening and closing function are sealed with a blank flange. Remove the blank flanges and keep them in a safe place for future use. Attach the connection hoses by using the associated SAE flange halves and tighten the fastening bolts. Now remove the sealing plugs from the connection fittings for the rotation function, attach the appropriate hydraulic hoses, and tighten the cap nuts. As an option to the standard side connection ports, the CombiCutter is equipped with an internal connector block that can be used when the CombiCutter is attached to a fully automatic hydraulic quick coupler system. To mount the hydraulic attachment, carefully use the excavator arm to bring the adapter plate in position. The assistant should direct the movement of the excavator arm until it is flush with the hole pattern of the hydraulic attachment. When the adapter plate is correctly aligned, remove the cover plate from the upper part of the CombiCutter in order to install the mounting bolts. Tighten the bolts with the required torque as stated in the operating manual. Now attach the hydraulic hoses to the connection fittings of the excavator arm. All connections should be made leak-free, but without over-tightening the fittings. When the CombiCutter is attached to the carrier, carry out a functional test to ensure proper operation. Open and close the jaw by activating the respective hydraulic circuit. Do the same with the rotating function and turn the CombiCutter in both directions. Important maintenance. Lubrication of the CombiCutter is essential, as it ensures the proper function and a long service life. Injecting 4 to 6 strokes of cutter grease per lubrication nipple provides a sufficient lubrication film. The grease nipples of the jaw should be lubricated prior to every shift, while the 4-point bearing should be lubricated once a month. The blade clearance strongly influences the cutting performance and should be checked with a feeler gauge on a regular basis as stated in the operating manual.